Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Annalisa Cochrane about season 4 of Cobra Kai, which is streaming now on Netflix. We're also talking about One of Us is Lying on Peacock as well. Welcome back to the show. It's so good to see you.
Thank you. It's so good to be back. It's good to see you again.
It's really exciting too, because I remember last time we did mostly Cobra Kai talk. People knew a little bit about One of Us is Lying, but it's interesting because now it's kind of out now, and we could talk about it a little bit more. And you did a lot of press. There's a lot going on about it. What's it like, kind of, are you getting used to kind of the stages of hype, so to speak? Because there's the announcement that you're going to be in it, then the release date. Like, are you getting used to all the stages of like announcements and hype for the show?
Maybe it's my personality. I don't think I'll ever get used to it. Like, I just get so excited about things. And specifically, I think with One of Us is Lying, like Cobra Kai was insane to see, but I am a small character in it. And so I think that One of Us is Lying felt like my project, and I've been a part with my co-stars, and I've been a part of it since the inception. And so like we did like a reaction trailer to all of us getting to watch our own trailer for the show, and you can find it on YouTube. And I remember like so many people being like, there's no way this is real, this is all fake, all you actors. And it's like, no, like that's genuine. Like, and I think it'll keep happening. It's just genuine excitement that like finally, after working for so many years, you get to see your hard work on screen, and it's so quick. You know, it's like so much of my life, and all of a sudden it was done in 30 seconds.
Absolutely. No, for sure.
I hope I never get used to it.
But it's interesting too, because, you know, mystery, obviously a lot of your characters in One of Us is Lying. Someone's lying. It's in the title.
Yeah. Yeah.
The whodunit's always been kind of a classic, fun kind of show to kind of watch. What's your favorite thing about working on one of these like who did it type shows?
I think partially getting the scripts each week. And I remember we were stuck in quarantine in New Zealand, all in like separate hotels. And so there was no stimulation except us getting these scripts. And at first they weren't going to send us the final one until like we were way closer, but they sent it to us, and reading, I mean, the ending went through a few different changes, but like reading that original ending was so thrilling. And so I think that first time that you get to picture it, and, you know, like from the moment you have the audition, reading that, like those sides, and you get to picture it in your head, I think that's sometimes almost the best moments before it all happens, just the dream of it.
It was a pretty cool tag team a little bit too, right? Because people know you as Yasmin in Cobra Kai. Then it's kind of announced that you're going to be a lead in One of Us is Lying. That kind of worked pretty well together a little bit.
It works so well. Although I'm always like, I think Hollywood, they know, they conspire together. Like they're like, okay, this person's thing is coming out, let's release it. Like, it's not a coincidence in Hollywood.
It's always fun, but that's a thing too. When I used to watch movies and shows, it's always fun to be like, oh, I recognize that person. I just saw that person like that. It's like it's true. It's a marketing strategy.
It's so fun, yeah. And like the sad part is, and why it's hard for new actors to get in, is because a lot of the times we want to see our familiar faces on screen. You know, like I want to watch Matt Damon be an astronaut and be a father and buy a zoo. Like I want to watch him do all these things. Versus, you know, sometimes if it's someone I don't know, I lose that.
Well, I don't know if it's funny. I don't know if you've seen this, because there's a lot. I don't know. It depends. Like, there's a lot of like interviews that you've done, like for One of Us is Lying on YouTube. But there's like a looper video that's like, why is Annalisa Cochrane familiar? Yeah, and it shows like all your like past stuff, like Young and Restless. That's so cool. Like that's awesome.
Yo, and that was before we went and filmed One of Us is Lying, and it'd been like a year in quarantine of waiting to even see if like we were gonna be able to film. And so like watching that video come out, I'm usually not an emotional person, but I teared up because it's a hard slog.
Yeah, like Heathers, and like I don't know if you saw like Heathers. I don't know if you had scenes. Did you have any scenes with Romel De Silva? Did you ever work with him? Yeah, so
He's awesome.
Yeah, I interviewed him for He's All That on Netflix, and he's also in Heathers. And it's funny, in that Looper video, they show a clip of you in Heathers, and then you see him for a second. So I'm like, it's Romel, and yeah, it's so funny.
It's also such a small world. Like that Heathers cast have gone on to do so many. I mean, they're some of my best friends, and like everyone just continues to work, and so that's what's cool. It's like freaks and geeks, right? That generation of actors kept working. And I feel that way about a lot of my projects. I keep seeing my friends pop up and things, and it's cool to grow in the industry. You know, like you do find community and really good people, and it's like, oh, you're doing that now? That's so cool.
It's amazing, but it just shows like is there also a little bit of a misconception too in terms of, obviously you book it, you talk to your teams about what you're going to work on and everything, but like, let's be honest, in terms of like release dates and everything, like half the time you don't really know what's going on. You kind of just show up, like do your thing, and then announcements come.
No idea. I know. I remember it was like on one project and someone was like, oh, a Deadline article is already out about you guys. And it's like, what?
Yeah, you don't even know the Yeah, people don't even know. People dream for like the Deadline articles and the Variety articles. They don't even know when they're coming out.
Yeah, we joke. Knock on wood, we're getting a season 2. I keep saying, knock on wood, we're getting season 2 for One of Us is Lying, but we always joke we're going to find out from Deadline first. I've like had friends who figured out that their shows have been picked up or canceled from Deadline.
I know.
It's so sad.
It always it's funny too, because I started to like interview, like I started to become like friends and acquaintances with a lot of the people that I interview that are on shows. So I'm like rooting for them and everything. And it's funny, when I was growing up watching shows, like, oh, like there's not getting a season 2, and it's like, oh, okay, that's too bad. But now it's like sad, because it's like you're out of, like, they're not going to be able to, they don't have a job on that show anymore. Like, it really hits you harder when you start like kind of like interviewing people. Like it's a thing.
Yeah. And when you start to know them personally and you know how much that means to them, you know, it's also like, it's security, it's purpose. Working is such purpose. And so to see any cancellations, it starts to hurt. But I mean, like for all of us, it's, you know, gosh, it's difficult times, but then the highs, and that's why everyone stays in it, because the highs are so high in acting, and then the lows pretty damn low. But
very low. No, absolutely. Yeah, that is a good way of putting it, for sure. It's like high highs and low lows, for sure.
Yep.
There's no in between.
No, there's not.
Which
is probably why so many actors are crazy or get crazy. I'm a little crazy, like we all are. Thanks for like talking to us, giving us a sense of normalcy.
It's so funny too, because like we both have a good amount of energy and everything, and sometimes I go on interviews
and we feed off of each other.
But sometimes I do like interviews like Penny Meets from Alternative, and someone doesn't realize it's coming, right? They're waiting, and it's like Penny Meets from Alternative, like, oh my god, like they just getting thrown in.
Just shocked by it. Yeah. I often see that, and I'm like, there's a side of me that has that, but I'm like, maybe I should talk really softly and be a very serious actor and talk about my craft like this. But I just can't bring myself to do it.
But it's exciting because you're doing so many amazing things. We got to be excited about it. If we're not excited about it, like, what's the point? You know what I mean? That's how I look at it.
True.
Cobra Kai season 4, Netflix. Quick question for you. Was it when it kind of transferred over to Netflix when you started realizing how global it was? Like you getting kind of like, when did you notice, like when you were getting kind of messages and like DMs and like fans from all over the world, when did you start noticing it? Was it the move to Netflix?
It was totally the move to Netflix. I definitely, like, my mom, like, we definitely noticed, you know, the original YouTube pilot got 53 million views on it or something. And so many articles about it that were so positive, but it was like no one for, what was that, 3 years, no one had heard about it. Seemingly in my like world, day-to-day life, no one had heard about it. Yeah. And then, it came out, what was that, last year? And it was insane to see the difference.
Well, they put out the third season on Netflix, but then they re-put like the ones that were on YouTube, like they put them on Netflix so people can like catch up as well.
Yeah, which I think also speaks to the power of Netflix and just kind of, they're the giant of the industry, you know? So it's like to have crazy. Something on Netflix kind of like it sets you off, you know?
But I remember doing an interview with Sholo, and it was weird because it was like the show was kind of in hyperspace a little because it didn't have a home. Like it wasn't announced to Netflix yet. So we're doing this interview, and he's like, you know, season 3 is shot, it's in the can, and it's gonna be the best season ever. And like yeah.
And no one had any idea. Like you probably were like, okay, like if it even gets a streaming service, but you had watched it, you knew.
Yeah, but it's one of those things too where like you just play the waiting game, but you kind of have ideas and everything. But it's just like that one, I think, because people were just like freaking out about like what happened in like season 2, and people were just like, I need season 3. I want it at this point. We don't know. We don't care where it drops. We want it right now.
Yep. And let's talk about, just to spoil a little bit, just the cliffhanger. That's all I'm gonna say. In the next season, the cliffhanger in the next season.
Big cliffhanger.
Man, these writers keep bringing it back. They're
but
good.
Yasmin is back, aka the Yas Queen, which a lot of people are saying.
Wait, I don't think I've heard that. I love that. I do go on Reddit occasionally to read all these theories, and I just want to like post from my Reddit username and just like say something, but I'm too afraid. But Yas Queen.
So I actually have a pretty. I think it's a good. I don't want to hurt myself when I pat myself back. I think it's a good question I have now.
Okay.
Well, Yasmin.
Yes, Peter.
Naturally, characters have arc and grow and everything. What's it like playing a character that obviously has this kind of growth and is willing to kind of change for the good, even though it's sometimes difficult to do that? Like, what's it like kind of playing a character like that is able to have such growth? Because it's hard sometimes, but this character is able to kind of change her attitude for the good and everything. So what's it like for that specifically? Was it a good question? Was it okay?
Good. That was a great question. Okay. Yeah, that was good. Yeah. I feel I'll always say this, but I feel so lucky, right? Mm-hmm. Because so often, and even like doing season 1, and if it had just been left at that, I mean, so honored to be a part of it, but that's not real to human beings. Like, change is the only constant, right? So we are all changing every single day, every single experience. And so I think with Yasmin, like, she had to change to adapt to this new world. And I feel so honored that the writers let viewers see it. Because you don't come back from that wedgie in season 1 and not be changed in some sort of way. And then more and more, like in season 3, seeing her kind of softening and kind of realizing, and I think she's still quite calculating. And
in this new season 2, she's still calculating. Absolutely.
She's still calculating. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, I think she genuinely really cares and really, really likes Dimitri, Jenny's character. And so I think that, and it's so cheesy, it's so cliche, but it's true. Like, love changes all, love softens. Like, Yasmin's just a girl in love.
It's amazing. Yeah. No, but it's you know what I mean though, right? Like, different characters have kind of these different journeys in Cobra Kai, and there's so many. This is kind of an obvious, like, okay, there's the ability here to be a better person. And you see it with Yasmin, which I think is awesome.
Yeah. And I think for her too, realizing that it feels good and like seeing, she's had all this power as a queen bee, but then finally using it for good in a way, like when she writes on his cast. And then like, I think that she sees that she doesn't have to be.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. But she doesn't have to like be. And I feel this with playing Addie from One of Us is Lying, but we never have to fit into the boxes that other people put us into. And so, figuring out who you are without that kind of, especially in high school, without that that mask, without that shine. And it's cool that Yasmin gets to experience that. And then, she definitely operates a little differently in season 4, but she's still got her Yasmin sassiness.
I think it's always interesting too, because I feel like Cobra Kai is the one show, because there's so many shows that are like ensemble casts and so many shows have so many characters, but that's the one show every year that I always get excited, like season after season, to see like what they do with characters, like who they bring back, who's new. Like, I don't know. I love that about it.
Yeah. Do you feel overwhelmed as a viewer at all? I
do a little bit. There are some things. But the thing is like you haven't. I don't want to like.
I know. Don't spoil anything.
Well, no. It's not spoiling. I just want to, because you. I'm not sure if you've seen it yet. I don't want to spoil it for you, but you read the scripts, right? But I don't know. I'll tell you afterwards because there's some things that like don't seem like, there's subtle things that really excited me about certain characters that don't seem to be like super big things, but like But for me, it was like a big deal.
Right.
Can I just tell you the thing I'm talking about?
Yeah, tell me. Yeah.
Well, no, like there's new characters, right? Like there's Dallas
Kenny,
Young who plays Kenny, who has a rivalry, right? We find out who his brother is, and I was just like, "Did you know about that?"
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Oh my God. Okay.
No, I didn't. I'm like trying to play it off, and I didn't. They only give me the scripts that I'm in.
Oh, okay. So just rewind. Rewind.
We're pretending. And no, like I'm gonna play it.
Is it hard sometimes? Is it hard sometimes though? Like being in kind of this industry where like it's sometimes like it's impossible to like not get spoilers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But you also, it's so funny because when you're working on set, it feels so different than the final product.
Mm-hmm.
And so even like it's a little sad because watching the final product, you're so often, if I've been on set, you're so thinking about what went on that day that you shot that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Cobra Kai is really nice because I'm not in a lot of it. I do get to enjoy it as a viewer.
Until you come on Pop Alternative and I just ruin it.
Someone spoils it for me.
I always worry now. I always worry. You always have to ask now if people have seen it because I've had interviews where like I have asked people and it's intimidating because their publicist is sitting in and everything. And I'm like, so like, what did you think about the performances in the movie? Right. And they're like, on the interview, they're like, oh, I haven't seen it, so I can't really comment. And I'm just like, that was like a waste of a question.
Yep. I always wonder that. I'm like, you should be like, we want to talk educate. We want to talk with education about the show. I feel like you should let us watch it, everyone.
Well, sometimes, I mean, I get it a little bit, but sometimes there's like, there's some people that don't want to watch their stuff, right? Like, I'm sure you know some people who just don't want to do it.
Oh yeah, they sent us for One of Us is Lying. They sent us all the links because we were stuck in quarantine in New Zealand at the end of our filming there as well. And so as kind of like a, hey, hang in there, they sent us all the links for our episodes of that show. And man, I can't watch it. I have to watch like this, but you know, it's hard for everybody to watch. Do you rewatch interviews?
Sometimes, yeah.
Because you have to edit them.
Yeah, I rewatch. Yeah, no, I do. I've done, it's crazy. I've done over like 820 interviews.
Yeah, that's why you're so good at it.
Like I did like a count recently and I was like, I've done that many. I started doing them when I was in 2015, but it only started kind of I only started taking it like really seriously in like 2020 because the pandemic, right? Out of ranks and everything.
Totally. How many do you do now? Would you say like?
Oh, it depends. Like it depends. I try to also bank them. Like if I have an interview, like I have, some people can't do this, but I can do like 3 in a row. Like I can.
Right.
So then your days become, it's easier to do a lot of content, right? Because you're doing like 7 to 10. You're doing 3 or 4, right? Some people can't though, right? Because they have to prepare and everything. Did I tell you any dad jokes last time you were on the show?
No, because we weren't at that level yet.
Okay, because I've been like doing.
I love a good dad joke. I've been dad's library, please.
Okay, well, did you hear about the kidnapping? It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. He just woke up. And honestly, you were telling me about that restaurant. That restaurant you went on.
You're so good.
That restaurant you went on the moon. Great food, zero atmosphere. Remember that place you were telling me about?
Yeah.
And then you quit that. You quit your summer job at the shoe factory because you said it was soul destroying. And the next time you come on the show, I'm going to tell you the joke about construction because I'm still working on it. So you're going to have to wait.
Wait, so you've come up with these?
No, they're from books that I have.
Oh my
dad
gosh.
joke books.
Have I thrown one at you?
No, you haven't. Go for it.
You probably haven't.
Go for it.
Okay, it's so bad, but I used to think it was hilarious. And it still is. Okay. What did the mama tomato say to the baby tomato who had fallen behind?
What?
Catch up.
That's pretty good. That's like the one with the 2 peanuts chasing each other, and one of them tells the other, "I'm a cashew."
Yeah. I don't think I've heard that one.
Absolutely. Annalisa, thank you so much for your time. It was great to catch up with you, seriously.
Peter, you're so fun. Thank you so much. And everyone, go watch One of Us is Lying on Peacock. And season 4 of Cobra Kai on Netflix.
Absolutely. That was really well done. I was going to do that.
I'm going to do 3 interviews a day.
And people can follow you on Instagram, right? That's kind of the wheelhouse where you post a lot of stuff.
Yes. Go follow me on Instagram, Annalisa Cochrane. Hopefully I'll be posting more in 2022. We'll see how I feel.
Amazing. Well, this has been Pop Alternative, youtube.com/Pop Alternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Annalisa Cochrane from One of Us is Lying on Peacock and Cobra Kai on Netflix. And PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Pop Alternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.